Oh, this is a gratitude list for just the power of confession. It is March 10th, right? Winding down Motivational Monday, 11:05 p.m. And why I sit here, um, I so the confession I have is I do not hate the internet. Um, But I do have a book in front of me called I Hate the Internet, a useful novel against men, money, and the filth of Instagram by Jarrett Kobach, published by We Heard You Like Books. And yeah, like I do, I just, a book stack. I don't know when I dip into it. I've had it sitting here. And um, Uh, and so randomly attracted to the book, you know, and then flip it open and chapter 16. And there are so many foreign names in there, but that's the pun. That's the pun about algorithms, specifically about Twitter, and it. All I know is I read this story and laughed out loud because, oh my goodness, I do understand. And so I I used to be a part of community of people known as Kinksters, and and each one of us had, some of us, concentrated on literature and kink. Others made videos. I was one that made videos. But and so innocently enough, I got into it after um, the death of my second husband. Um, was I lonely? I was missing my husband, and I was alone. I met a man. We hung out for a little bit, but he was in the oil industry, and so he got me on Skype. So when he was doing all his lab testing and everything, I could speak to him in a trailer. I would be in my trailer, he would be in a trailer, kind of thing. It was something that I thought would be, a way for us to connect when we were apart. But when he was in that trailer, he did certain things and we couldn't, like, so here's the deal. He's attracted to me in real life, but not behind the screen. And so he gave me a tool, Skype, and I used it. And so beauty is in the eye of the beholder. It's not about morality or anything like that. It's just about meeting people and sharing. I talked about this in the last video about the science of mirroring people, mirroring, wanting, and liking. So when I was on Skype, it took me a while to go on cam. Um, because I depended so much on my voice, and then I would meet other people that were depending on their voice. But then there was someone that liked me enough. He wanted to see me on cam. So it started camming on Skype. And so it began, right? And it was safe for me because many of these men were in Europe. And the whole premise of We Are Five started with me with one man that did not want to show his face. And the concept of Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, who is the man behind the curtain? And so you know, I was Dorothy, seeing all these men behind the curtain. And what was the process and connection to get there? Some wouldn't until they knew I was about to get away, right? And then it was all about vulnerability. Okay, now you see me, now what? You know? And then I can't tell you how many invitations to travel over to Europe. And it was like, I don't even have a passport. And a lot of hearts broken, right? But, uh, eh, for me, it was not, that was another life of mine. It was a life I truly enjoyed because it was one of how every different country viewed sexual relations, right? And so, and that was the motif. And I used a book um, by Alan Bloom. What truly is love, right? What truly is connection. And for a long time there, I could not find connection in my local area. I was just what my interests were. I really love books, and and it's hard. It's just hard to live in a world where people don't read anymore. I'm not ancient because, there are people that still read books for real, right? And there's people that love to discuss them. Uh, Yet it's like I'm not part of that culture about books. That What can you say in 15 seconds about your surroundings? When you see this picture, what kind of emotions are invoked inside of you? What are you feeling? When you see someone, what kind of perspective do you see? A clear one or a foggy one? When you see a patient before surgery, what do you see? A foggy one or a clear one? Food for thought. It's really all relational. What motivates us is what we do with ourselves daily. Take a second look. Welcome to Take a Second Look, especially for those who are single. When you're only one, Angel of Charlie. I've seen, because, I've wanted to, connect. Yet it wasn't true for me. And so my experience that I did was very true. However, um, so my life kind of died after COVID when more people um, got on, you know, started doing what I was doing um, years before COVID in connection. And it was my lifeblood. And that's my pain, because if it wasn't for the internet, there's so many people I would have not met. Because, me getting on a plane ain't happening. I hate planes. Uh, I've only been on a train once, going to Rome and automobile. So, yeah, I'm about traveling by automobile, but I ain't going cross country anymore. I did it in my 20s in the Navy, um, with my first husband, and I, I don't like traveling long distances. So, um, I love traveling, but not overnight. So it kind of limits me where I go. And now, um, I really don't like to travel outside. Um, I've done stuff. uh, the way I the way I said this one day, I was like, I've done stuff north, I've done some south, I've done south stuff east, and I've done south, stuff west, and now it's like, what else is there left to do? And I did, um, try to go back online and try to be a little bit more professional, um, about my previous lifestyle. And it was hard to do without having that community that I miss so much. I felt free. I felt I had no boundaries. I felt very uninhibited, and I had some true friends. And now I'm here because, like one person said, wrap, sum it up for me. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So I just said, who moved my cheese? One friend got it. And I don't love her less, you know, because, when I spend time with that person, I listen. I listen to her stories, right? And, um, and I have stories too. But it's really kind of hard to find somebody that'll listen to my stories. I mean, people want to spend time with me, but they don't want me to talk. And I got on Spotify with that feeling. And I still practice the Visket method because I have these feelings. I know they're valid. In public, you know, I have to do this. I have to talk into a mic I made a commitment to. I bought a book. He said, don't drop it. Don't drop the mic. Because that's our uniqueness. It can't be cookie cutter. It can't be just, a TikTok. It can't be, you know, there is a great author that gave wonderful interviews, and he's not here anymore. He gave up. And you know what? It happens. So when I get on the mic, it's to save my life. It's to do a timestamp. It's to save my life. It just puts it, it gets the minutes clocking to pass, to allow it to pass, that feeling to pass. Because I was so happy. I have had moments of extreme joy. They're still in my memory. I have known love, absolute, unconditional love. I've known it. I know what it feels like. And it is that it is evanescent. But so what's more in my brain is pure joy. And a lot of my anger is just pure expression of sadness, of, and I had to learn how to grieve. I had to talk out loud and grieve. And I had a dog to do it with, and he's not here, but I have to continue the process of the Visket method because I have to be my own therapist. Because it happens out of the blue. When you've had a person that you can share everything with, that knows you inside and out, it is really hard to let that go. But I have not taken one sip of alcohol, no matter how much the pain is, because I won't tarnish his memory. So I felt a lot of grief during the time when people hadn't experienced it yet, but I know I found a way. And and so that was more of, when I was in the porn industry in Europe, it was grief. That is what I talked about most because, I was a widow. I was a grieving widow, right? And so I shared moments of laughter and intimacy with many different men in different countries. Um, and I developed a forum to invite people. And I remember one. I remember, one transgender that you could not even tell. You couldn't tell because that's how good it is in Belgium. That's how good the surgeries are in Belgium. You could not tell. She was beautiful. And she just didn't want to she just didn't want to work in her family's cheese store anymore. That's what I'm saying. My life is like, it's just cycle after cycle. I'm not a punster. I'm not a punster because I'm trying to be. I see the puns in my own life. And that is my perspective, is uh irony. And I love it because that's literature. That's what books, that's what great books are about. Just paradoxes. And my life in spirituality has been one paradox after the other, and I'm turned all different ways. I have so much rich feelings, um, and I've loved so many people. But, not everybody received it. Some people just wanted this pinch. Some, was willing, one pinch of sugar. you know, it was all about seasoning, man. It was just about seasoning, like, spice me up, Louisa, you know. And that's how I love. Break your neck. I've watched so many, yeah, young men come of age and, trying to reach back out and say, I can't get that anywhere else, Louisa. And I'm like, well, I don't know what to tell you. You got to keep on. You got to keep on going because it's out there, It's right there in your own backyard, because just the experience that I gave him. I said, look, I only did that for you so you would find somebody locally. That was my only intent. It's just, um to give you some vision, uh to have no boundaries. So, cuz it's right there in front of your face. The love you seek is right there in front of your face. And sometimes, you know, it's a dance in development, right? Um, sometimes, somebody will just, roll right past me because, I have some fears, right? Um, but, it's catch up, slow down, catch up. And um for me, that was always the essence of marriage was, that exchange. And when it wasn't there anymore, you kind of felt the marriage. When you're not willing to tango anymore, then, it's pretty much over, you know. Um um I love my first husband. He is the father of my children. But it is kind of weird because when we did get back together, when we were going to remarry, I was like, "Are you really doing that?" And then I was like, "Guess what? Here's my profile." He's like, "You're on there?" I'm like, "Yeah, you kingsta." Oh my goodness. Do you like pina colada? Are you kidding me? But he had his flavor. I was like, "Oops, you gone." You know. But yeah, so I was able to forgive. I was able to forgive, because we're just I mean, I mean, we got together for a reason, you know. And that's why it's so hard. It's like I really never hated any man. I never did. Uh uh it was painful, but growth is painful. You know. But when you finally do separate and that person's happy and I'm happy, that's all I ever wanted. Sometimes we just can't be happy together because of the boundaries that people create in marriage. And it's so, I had found an outlet. Ironically, my first husband was in that community. And so we were able to forgive. But boy, it was a roundabout way to do it. Um, so I know forgiveness. I do. And I know how to have that conversation after the pain has subsided. Because I've done it. I've done it so many times. And I've had many conversations right before somebody has passed. It's a gift. It's a gift. And it was one of the reasons I did want to be part of a grief ministry. However, you know, now Grief Share is all over town. So just get wet. Get involved and just get wet. Um, create the fellowship you crave. Because I did it and I loved it. And I don't know. I don't know what's next, but I'm waiting. I'm not giving up on the nature of God. He just does so much healing, and I witness it day in and day out, and I can't stop. I can't stop believing what He can do, and I just talk about it in my life and timestamp it. Because once the document is made, it's out there. You'll know what I'll feel, and you'll know what I'll believe. There's no second guessing with me. Peace out.